Did you know in Singapore, if you're caught selling gum, you could go to jail? It might sound absurd, but it's true. In the year 1992, Singapore introduced a law that made selling gum a punishable offense. The main motive behind this legislation was maintaining cleanliness in public places. Singapore, known for its spotless streets and stringent cleanliness standards, found that discarded gum was causing a nuisance and damaging public property. But as with any law, there are exceptions. In Singapore, therapeutic, dental, or nicotine chewing gum is exempted from this prohibition. These types of gum can be purchased, but only from a doctor or a registered pharmacist. They are considered beneficial for health and hence are allowed. So if you ever find yourself craving a chew in the Lion City, you'll need to get a prescription first. So next time you're in Singapore, remember to leave your gum at home, unless you're a doctor or pharmacist. In France, you cannot marry a dead person. Sounds absurd, right? But brace yourselves, as the reality is quite the contrary. France, the land of love and romance, has a peculiar law that allows posthumous marriages. Yes, you heard it right. This is not a figment of your imagination or a plot of a melodramatic movie. This is a bona fide French law. Now, you may be wondering, how did this strange law come into existence? The history traces back to the 1959 Malpasset Dam tragedy. In the horrendous event, hundreds lost their lives, leaving their loved ones in a state of profound grief. Among the victims was a man who was engaged to be married. His bereaved fiancée implored the then President Charles de Gaulle to allow her to proceed with their wedding. Touched by her plea, the president agreed, hence setting a precedent for posthumous marriages in France. Since then, this law has been a beacon of hope for those who have lost their beloved before they could officially tie the knot. It has been used for sincere and heart-wrenching reasons rather than for financial gain or notoriety. To be granted a posthumous marriage, the living partner must provide compelling evidence of their deceased loved one's explicit desire to marry them while they were still alive. The French president then reviews the request and, if found legitimate, grants permission. The law, though unusual, has been a comfort to many grieving hearts, providing them a sense of closure and a way to honor their love. It's a testament to the fact that love transcends the boundaries of life and death, and the concept of "till death do us part" may not hold true for everyone. So, before you dismiss this as absurd, remember that love is multifaceted, and its manifestations can sometimes be unconventional. Though it may sound strange to some, for others, this law is a testament to the enduring nature of love. In the Philippines, you can't get a divorce? Can you imagine that? Yes, you heard that right. The Philippines is one of the only two countries in the world where divorce is not legal. The other, if you're curious, is Vatican City, the heart of the Catholic Church. Now you might be wondering, why is this so? Well, the influence of the Catholic Church plays a significant role here. The Philippines is a deeply religious country, with over 80% of its population identifying as Roman Catholic. The Church's teachings have a profound impact on the country's laws, and divorce is seen as a violation of the sanctity of marriage. This law has a profound effect on the people of the Philippines, especially women. Many find themselves trapped in unhealthy, abusive, or simply unhappy marriages with no legal way out. The burden of this law often falls heaviest on those who can least bear it, the poor, who cannot afford the costly and time-consuming alternatives to divorce. Speaking of alternatives, let's delve into those. The Philippines does allow for annulment and legal separation, but these come with their own set of challenges. Annulment, for instance, requires proving that a marriage was invalid from the start, a high bar to meet. Legal separation, on the other hand, allows couples to live apart and divide their property, but does not permit remarriage. These limitations mean that for many, the promise of "till death do us part" is less a romantic vow and more a life sentence. It's a grim reality that underscores the importance of the ongoing fight for divorce law reform in the country. Advocates argue that legalizing divorce would not only uphold individual rights, but also provide much-needed protection for those stuck in harmful situations. So in the Philippines, "till death do us part" takes on a very literal meaning. It is a country where the law and the church are intertwined, and the ripple effects of this union are felt deeply by its citizens. The struggle for change continues, reflecting the tension between tradition and progress in this vibrant and complex nation. In China, you need government approval to reincarnate. Yes, you heard it right. Imagine a law so peculiar, it transcends the boundaries of life and death. In 2007, China introduced a law that quite literally dictates the cycle of life and rebirth. According to this law, you cannot reincarnate without the express permission of the government. But what could possibly be the motive behind such an unusual law? The answer lies in the complex political landscape of China, specifically its relationship with Tibet. Tibetan Buddhism, a religion deeply rooted in the concept of reincarnation, has been a significant part of Tibetan identity and culture. By controlling the process of reincarnation, the Chinese government aims to exert control over the future leaders of Tibetan Buddhism, including the Dalai Lama, the spiritual head, who is believed to be a reincarnate. This law, however, has sparked an international controversy. Critics argue that it infringes upon religious freedoms and is a direct violation of human rights. It has been seen as an attempt by the Chinese government to undermine the influence of the Dalai Lama and to tighten its grip on Tibet. On the flip side, the Chinese government defends this law as a necessary measure to preserve the authenticity and purity of Tibetan Buddhism and to prevent fraudulent claims of reincarnation. It insists that the law is in line with Buddhist traditions that state reincarnation should be recognized through ritualistic and religious procedures. Regardless of the controversy, one thing is clear. This law, like many others we've discussed, offers a fascinating glimpse into the unique cultural, historical, and political landscapes of the countries they originate from. They challenge our understanding of what law can and cannot govern, and they make us question the extent to which political power can reach. So if you're planning your next life in China, make sure you've got the paperwork sorted.